a secret roadmap surfaces, Washington's 21-point plan to end the Gaza war. Trump's envoy promises amnesty, aid, and a pathway to statehood, but only if Hamas disarms. Critics call it pressure politics, allies call it hope. As the UN debates, leaders ask, is this peace or just America's illusion? Better truth than illusions. That message carried weight in New York this week as leaders gathered at the United Nations. Alongside debates on Ukraine, the question of Palestine returned to center stage. After 2 years of war in Gaza, the idea of a two-state solution is being raised again. Two roadmaps are now being discussed. One is the UN-backed declaration, backed by Muslim and European countries. The other comes from Washington, which is linked directly to Donald Trump's White House. While the UN plan has its supporters, much of the attention is now turning to the American proposal. At the center of it is Steve Witkoff. A New York property developer and longtime Trump ally, Witkoff has stepped into the role of presidential envoy for peace. He has presented what he calls a 21-point plan for the future of Gaza and the wider Palestinian territories. While announcing that Trump presented proposals to leaders from several Muslim-majority countries, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Egypt, during a meeting held on the sidelines of the annual General Assembly, Witkoff said,
I think it addresses Israeli concerns and as well the concerns of all the neighbors in the region. We're hopeful, and I might say even confident, that in the coming days we'll be able to announce some sort of breakthrough.
The plan is described as having broad regional support. It is meant to answer the difficult question of what happens after the fighting ends. It looks at security, governance, reconstruction, and the role of outside partners. Supporters say it offers a fresh, pragmatic approach. Critics wonder if it has the political weight to endure. Trump himself has been very optimistic about ending the conflict.
Thank you very much. We've had some really good talks today on Gaza with both the Middle East representatives and kings and all of the top leaders of the Middle East, and we had also a very good conversation with Bibi Netanyahu, trying to get the hostages back, and we're trying to get the end of the Gaza situation. It's really bad, very bad. And we think it could happen, maybe it could happen pretty soon. We want the hostages back, we want the bodies back, and we want to have peace in that region, so we had some very good talks.
However, critics point out that the plan comes after immense pressure from the global community and after relentless backing of Israel by the Trump administration. According to a copy of the plan obtained by the Times of Israel, the US proposal for ending the war in Gaza encourages Palestinians to remain in the Strip and provides for the creation of a pathway to a future Palestinian state. The new Trump administration proposal was put on the table with Gulf partners just the day after Saudi Arabia and France hosted a two-state solution conference, which the US boycotted, citing opposition to the recognition of a Palestinian state that Trump has said would reward Hamas. The US plan aims at establishing a dialogue with Israel and the Palestinians to agree on a political horizon for peaceful coexistence. The proposal is still believed to be rather light on details, and subsequent negotiations will likely be necessary, even if the sides agree to the plan. While those terms are major selling points for the Palestinians, the proposal crafted largely by US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and that is poised to be fine-tuned in the coming days, also includes clauses that Israel has long demanded. Those include a commitment for Hamas to disarm, the demilitarization of Gaza, and the establishment of a process to de-radicalize the population. Gaza will be a de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefit of its people. If both sides agree to the proposal, the war will end immediately. Israeli forces will halt all operations and gradually withdraw from the Strip. Within 48 hours of Israel publicly accepting the deal, all living and deceased hostages will be returned. Once the hostages are returned, Israel will release several hundred Palestinian security prisoners serving life sentences, along with more than 1,000 Gazans arrested since the start of the war, as well as the bodies of several hundred Palestinians. Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence will be granted amnesty. Those who wish to leave Gaza will be given safe passage to receiving countries. Once the agreement is reached, aid will flow into Gaza at no fewer than 600 lorries per day. Infrastructure will be repaired and rubble cleared. Aid will be distributed by the United Nations, the Red Crescent, and other neutral international organisations without interference from either side. Gaza will be governed by a temporary transitional administration of Palestinian technocrats. This body will be supervised by an international committee established by the United States in consultation with Arab and European partners until the Palestinian Authority completes its reform program. An economic plan will be launched to rebuild Gaza, drawing on experts in urban development and investment. An economic zone will be created, with reduced tariffs and preferential access negotiated by participating countries. No one will be forced to leave Gaza. Those who wish to leave may return, while others will be encouraged to stay and rebuild. Hamas will have no role in governing Gaza. All offensive military infrastructure, including tunnels, will be dismantled. Regional partners will provide security guarantees to ensure compliance and prevent future threats. A temporary international stabilization force will be deployed to oversee security. It will train a Palestinian police force to take on long-term responsibility. Israel will not annex Gaza. The IDF will gradually withdraw as new security forces establish control. If Hamas delays or rejects the deal, these points will be implemented in areas free of terror, with Israel transferring control to the stabilization force. Israel will agree not to carry out future strikes in Qatar in recognition of Doha's role as mediator. A de-radicalisation program will begin, including interfaith dialogue aimed at changing narratives in both Israel and Gaza. When Gaza is rebuilt and the Palestinian Authority has reformed, conditions may be created for a credible pathway to Palestinian statehood. The United States will lead a dialogue between Israel and the Palestinians to define a long-term political horizon for peaceful coexistence. While there is still no clarity as to how the plan would be executed, global leaders have expressed hope that the plan would be a positive step in the resolution of the Palestinian conflict. Trump is optimistic about his chances. On September 26th, he told reporters that a deal may already be in place before posting on Truth Social that intense negotiations have been going on for 4 days and will continue for as long as necessary to get a successfully completed agreement. The Qataris significantly offered this week in the meeting with Trump to continue playing a mediating role if they received assurances that there would not be any future Israeli strikes in their country following Israel's strike earlier this month. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio recently said,
"Very important work is ongoing, even as we speak, with regard to a future for Gaza and the Palestinian people."
European governments also received a readout of the general plan that the Trump administration put forward, and 2 European diplomats told CNN they believed it represented an authentic, renewed effort to drive an end to the conflict. One of those officials added that the overall plan could prevent Israel from further annexing the West Bank, citing that action as something that would make it virtually impossible to expand the Abraham Accords, which is a cited goal of the Trump administration.